Look, the Red Sox just made their intentions crystal clear, and if you're a Blue Jays fan, you need to hear this because it's not good news. Boston has officially made Bo Bichette one of their primary targets this offseason, and we're talking about a divisional rival potentially stealing away one of Toronto's most recognizable faces. This isn't speculation anymore. This is coming straight from Red Sox insiders, and the implications for the Blue Jays are massive. Alex Speier from the Boston Globe just dropped a report that should have every Blue Jays executive on high alert. The Red Sox aren't just casually interested in Bichette, they're actively pursuing him as one of their top priorities. We're talking about a team that just added Wilson Contreras and is still aggressively hunting for another infield bat. Bichette sits right at the top of their list alongside Alex Bregman, and they're also looking at trade options like Ketel Marte from the Diamondbacks and Isaac Paredes from the Astros. But here's what matters. Bichette is right there in the conversation as a primary target, not a backup plan. Think about what this means for a second. The Blue Jays could potentially watch one of their cornerstone players, someone who's been with the organization his entire career, walk across the diamond and put on a Red Sox uniform. We're talking about one of the most heated rivalries in the American League East. This isn't like losing a player to some team out in the National League where you see them a handful of times. This is 19 games a year, minimum, watching Bo Bichette take the field against Toronto. That's the kind of scenario that keeps general managers up at night. The timing of this couldn't be worse for Toronto. They're coming off a World Series appearance, and there's momentum behind this franchise right now. The fan base is energized, expectations are high, and losing Bichette to Boston would be a gut punch that would reverberate throughout the entire organization. It's not just about losing a talented player, it's about the optics, the message it sends to the rest of the roster, and what it means for the competitive balance in the division. Boston's interest makes perfect sense from their perspective. They need a right-handed bat, and outside of Ketel Marte, who's a switch hitter, every name on their list swings from the right side. Bichette fits exactly what they're looking for, and the Red Sox have the financial flexibility to make a serious offer. They're not just window shopping here, they're ready to make moves, and Bichette represents exactly the kind of impact player that can change the trajectory of their season. Now, Toronto owner Edward Rogers has come out and expressed hope for a reunion. He talked about how Bo has been part of the team throughout his career, how it's home for him, and how the organization is working hard to figure things out. But here's the thing. Hope isn't a strategy. The Blue Jays need to move with urgency here because every day that passes is another day Boston can get in Bichette's ear, another day for negotiations to drag on, another opportunity for this to slip away. Rogers made some interesting comments about Bichette's performance through the playoffs and the World Series run. He emphasized that while stars need to shine, a competitive team needs depth with multiple players stepping up. That's all true, but it also sounds like someone trying to hedge their bets, like maybe they're preparing for the possibility that Bichette walks. When an owner starts talking about depth and other players needing to contribute, you wonder if they're already thinking about life without their star shortstop. The reality is, Toronto has options beyond Bichette. They've been linked to Kyle Tucker and Alex Bregman, both of whom would be significant additions. But there's something different about retaining your own guy versus going out and signing someone else's star. Bichette represents continuity. He's a known quantity in that clubhouse, and there's value in that chemistry, especially coming off a World Series run. What makes this situation even more complicated is that Toronto is clearly trying to field a competitive team right now. They have the 7th best odds to win the World Series, which means expectations are legitimate. This isn't a rebuilding team trying to figure out their identity. This is a win-now roster that needs to maximize every advantage. Letting Bichette walk to a division rival doesn't just weaken Toronto, it strengthens Boston, and that's a double hit the Blue Jays can't afford. The pressure is squarely on Ross Atkins and the Toronto front office right now. They need to make a decision about how aggressively they're going to pursue Bichette and what they're willing to offer to keep him away from Boston. This isn't a situation where they can sit back and hope things work out. The Red Sox are being aggressive, they're making their intentions known, and if Toronto wants to keep Bichette, they need to match that intensity. From Bichette's perspective, this has to be an interesting position. He's got his hometown team wanting to bring him back, and he's got a major market rival offering him a chance to stay in the division but with a different organization. The money will obviously matter, but so will the opportunity to win, the quality of the roster around him, and what each team's vision looks like for the next several years. What we're watching here is a critical moment for the Blue Jays franchise. They made it to the World Series, they've proven they can compete at the highest level, and now they need to show they can maintain that success. Losing Bichette, especially to Boston, would be a massive setback, not just in terms of talent, but in terms of perception and momentum. The front office needs to treat this with the urgency it deserves, because once he signs somewhere else, there's no going back. This is the moment where Toronto needs to show they're all in on keeping this window open, and that starts with making sure Bo Bichette stays right where he is.